Okay. Alright, starting over here at the top left side of the map of Qingzhong Station, we have EJK's EJK. See, that's one of the things about the North American scene is like, damn, I hate myself a little bit for it, but it is so hard to actually like keep track of North America because players in terms of like the semi-pro to professional level shifts so much, and people go, leave, join, retire, come back and stuff. So somebody like EJK, I've seen his name before, but I'm not too familiar with him in terms of play and just kind of seeing him a lot. So good to see him in his Game 1 performance. I really enjoyed it. Now, tough to not know this person right here, either whether it's shaved or unshaven, man. Unshaven looks a little better, I'll have to admit. Unshaven looks a little better. The Kappa man himself, Nathanias. Game 1 again, I like what he did at the very beginning of the game where he went for some of that Marine Hellion aggression. I feel as though if he actually continued following up with more Marines and more Hellions off of the reactor, he might have actually had a chance to force at least at minimal a lift off on that orbital command on the low ground. Would have been able to continue putting on a little bit more pressure. You know, by some chance and luck, if he was able to keep the Marines alive, kept pegging away at that orbital, he might have even been able to pick it off. You know, it's tough to say. But because he cut off the production and started transitioning into tank, Banshee, and just trying to do that kind of whole transition into a 1-1-1 opener in a sense, I feel like he missed out on a little bit of an opportunity. But again, hindsight is 20/20, so you know you can't sulk and sit back on the last game for too long. That's kind of more for another day of analysis that even he'll probably look back on. EJK opening up with a gas. Actually, both players opening up with gas. It's very standard for Terrans nowadays to open up Reapers. EJK actually again opening up with Marines, and we saw this out of him last game where he pops 2 Marines, drops that reactor, and then kind of goes from there. Meanwhile, Nathanias most likely will go Reaper into a factory, if not a Reaper into a command center on the low ground. And because he is sending that SCV down to the low ground, I feel like he is going to drop that command center. He does have a little bit of while to go until he actually gains the mineral income for it. And oh, EJK getting a little dirty with him, dropping that eBay in the natural. That's just dirty, man. That's saying, yeah, you're going to expand. Yeah, not for a few more seconds, man. Hold still. Cancels, and actually, you know, oddly enough, that almost might have worked in Nathanias' favor because he didn't have enough resources at the time, anyways, to build a command center. So that delay in its own, you know, just kind of helped him out. By the time he canceled, he had 400 and just enough for it. There's the factory getting dropped down. Sees the Reaper coming across the map. Not sure how much damage it's going to be able to get done, depending on where it decides to poke in. EJK, of course, has seen the Reaper, so he should be pretty aware of it. And you could see, because he has seen that Reaper, he double checks that left side over there, his side of the map, just to make sure there's no Reaper jumping through the cliff. Reaper, though, checking out what's going on from Nathanias. Jetpacks not fast today. Somebody didn't replace the fuel in that one. And unfortunately, the Reaper does fall, but, you know, gets enough information, spots the command center, spots the factory, knows that there's a reactor right now on that barracks, so won't be taken by something truly off guard. Now, with Qingzhong Station for a TVT, I consider it a pretty good map in terms of all-around play, because you think about it, there's a lot of airspace, so you could utilize it for drops. Map control isn't really too tough of a, you know, challenge. You can really have multiple options in terms of base. You could go to break through the rocks, go to the right side, control that side of the map, and maybe play a little bit more parallel to your opponent as he expands. Say if EJK went to his third, you can split it up across positions. You know, you put up a couple sensor towers that are going to balance out really well. But I mean, it's open, but it's not too open as well. So mech even works on this map. Really just depends on the style that the player is a little bit more comfortable. It really does work to, you know, any style of play. And again, if we fortunately have another TVT somewhere in the future, you know, when we look at other maps, I'll explain kind of why other styles work a tiny bit better. EJK floating down his orbital to the natural. Nathanias continuing with something a little bit similar to last game, but maybe getting a little bit overrun right now within his own natural, trying to take out those damn Marines and gets the Marines beat. But still, 2 Hellions do survive for EJK. He's actually pulling workers. I'm not sure if that's the smartest idea to line him up this early. 2 more Hellions join the action, and these SCVs unfortunately will go down. Nathanias' natural is exposed, and these are a couple of midway freshly used mules, so losing those is a pretty big deal. Another SCV walks out right to its death. Nathanias is going to drop that auto turret right there. Will you be able to get another one of those Hellions? He does indeed, so the auto turret and those 3 Hellions should keep him safe for now. It's one of those things I don't think Nathanias was really prepared for, and just, again, it all comes down to positioning and macro and those type of scenarios. You saw that Nathanias, just a couple seconds too late, finally moved down those Hellions, able to then line up those Marines of his opponents, while his opponent did that a little bit earlier. EJK just kind of, you know, jumped the gun. Now, EJK, understanding his position in the game, will just throw down that third base, understands that his opponent, after losing that many forces and forcing what he did out of his opponent, he should be safe enough to take a third. And again, with all of these units he's got out on the map, and he's going to be able to see if, you know, Hellions run out of here, out of the natural. If they come right through here, his Hellions will see on the right side. Well, we do have a Hellion drop, so what he's going to do is just, at worst, buy himself a little bit more time. Speed boost activated. Hellions coming on in here inside the main base. This is not good. Nathanias pulling workers to attack, and whenever you pull workers, you sort of kind of hinder yourself and you line them up. The drop does continue. Nathanias dropping down to 24 workers, losing a lot more than he, I think, anticipated, down to 21. Oh, the poor guy's taking a lot of damage right now. This is one of those things where you look at the whole entire picture. If this was 2 base versus 2 base, I would be, you know, glad to say that he should be okay. Maybe he'll be fine, but when you're down to 19 workers versus your opponent with 3 base, you are at such an enormous deficit where it's almost nearly impossible to come back from. You can hope that your opponent mistakes. You can hope that your opponent, you know, sits back long enough for you to maybe recover, or at least to maybe make an attempt to catch up. But I mean, knowing EJK, I doubt he's going to even allow that type of chance to happen. And look at this, man, from good to worse. Banshee flies in here, gets another kill over here. Could have even gotten 2 more if it wanted to. Nathanias, instead of mining, repairing his Hellions, and again, you do have to repair, but man, you do not have that many resources really to spend at the moment, unfortunately. Banshee's cloak upgrade finished up. He's going to be heading over inside the main base. Drops the scan to spot and see what's there, and you can see, just look at that deficit in economy. Absolutely no workers to speak of now, because of the turret, because of the auto turret, and of course the turret itself. He's not going to exactly jump right on in there. Starts picking off at that add-on, and of course, you know, if you want to have tanks, you're going to have that tech lab, and Nathanias unfortunately will lose that. Now Nate on the other side of the map looks like he's going to try to put a little bit of pressure on his opponent, but unfortunately he can't do anything within the realm of this high ground, and I think he just realized this. As soon as he saw the third base, he just pops the GG out. It's one of those self-reflective moments that you gotta have. You're like, man, well, I have no workers, I'm sitting on 2 base, you're sitting on 3 base, you have a bigger army, I can't break you no matter what I do, and that's